Oh, good afternoon and welcome Holly Freeman to the chat.
Hello.
Holly, I've known Holly for a while now. We used
Mm,
to work at our major telecommunications shop here in Cairns, and Holly went off to do other things, and now she is back in the region, which is great to see her. Um, she is expecting. She is 7 months.
7 months, yeah.
7 months, so not that long to go before she'll be a first-time mother. So that's awesome news, and congratulations on that. Because I know that there was, you really wanted to start a family,
Yeah.
and um, you'll probably come back home to what is going to be a pretty warm spring and
Yep.
summer. So that's going to be interesting when you are giving birth. So have fun with that.
Yeah.
I've been there, done that.
Yeah,
Don't
it
need
wasn't intentional.
no, of course not. Of course not. It's just the way it is. Um,
Yeah.
but that's cool. So, that's awesome news. So, congratulations on that. Um,
Thank
and
you.
obviously, well, the whole point of these conversations is to talk about men's health, but it's about women's health as well during Movember and
Mm,
stuff like that. So, you know what I do a lot when it comes to men's health and stuff like that, and
mm,
and women's health as well. And obviously, we'll touch on that today. But I think
mhm.
what would be, when, and it's kind of worked out well, you've been pregnant and stuff, because a lot of the conversations that I've been having, especially a good conversation I had yesterday, was with a young gentleman, 22-year-old Jameson, who's a runner here in Cairns, same age as my
Mm,
oldest boy. And we were talking about men's health when it comes to the younger generation, but then obviously when that generation starts to get older, are
mm.
we installing these practices onto our children when it comes to
Yeah.
mental health? And I know when I grew up, mental health wasn't a thing. It
Mm,
was just not a thing at all. And, I've experienced my own hurdles with mental health. I know
mm,
you have as well. And it's um it's going to be an interesting opportunity, and I want to get your insight on this. Is
mm.
what's it going to be like when and can I say what you're having?
Yeah.
So your daughter,
Mm,
what's it going to be like when your daughter grows up and starts to
mm,
have an impact when it comes to mental health?
mm. I think the biggest thing I'm grateful for is even when I started going through my mental health stuff, it was quite young. Like my grade 3 teacher told my mum that she'd never met a kid who loved so much but had such a big hole in their heart. So, and that was very rare for a teacher to make a comment on anything to do with the mental health stuff. So I started with anxiety medication quite young, but it was really weird to talk about it at school. No one really understood. The kids didn't get it. The teachers didn't really understand or support it. Even my family at the time, they just didn't know what to do because in their generation, you did nothing about it. It was just kind of swept under the rug and ignored. So they were just trying to do the best for me. So seeing how, from when I was a kid to now being in my 30s, how much more support there is and awareness of it. I'm grateful for that because the last thing I want is for my child to have the experiences I did or the experiences my parents did growing up with mental health issues and then, anything to do with the spectrum or anything coming up, given that there might be a chance that that could be a case on Reggie's side of the family, my partner's side. Um, that was just not a thing back when I was growing up. It was, if anything, it was just a thing that you got bullied for.
Yeah, and what year would that have been roughly? Not the year that you were at school, but the year, like, was it 2000s? It was early 90s, mid
It would
90s.
have been um, grade 3 because I graduated in '09. So it would have been late 90s, I think.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
when
something
I,
like
yeah,
that.
so I remember when I first went and spoke to somebody. I was probably about 95 when I was in the army, and I honestly don't know who I spoke to. Like, I know who I spoke to, but what his qualifications were, I had no idea. It was
Yeah.
kind of just, looking through the phone book and going, okay, you know, let's talk to this one. And it was kind of like uh, not a, wasn't being hypnotized. It was more like a deep sleep therapy type
Mm,
situation, something like that. And it kind of, I'm not sure if it did anything for me, but it was something different. And
mm,
situations did change after that,
mm.
but I don't think that was generally related to the issues that I was going through. So
Yeah.
it was just one of those times when you're kind of the odd one out in
Mm,
a world full of people who are doing the same thing and wanting to fit in by being
yeah.
part of that group. Now,
Mm,
I wasn't a part of that group until probably a year later, um,
mm,
when things changed. So it was definitely a burden on myself. I know that 100%, and it
yeah.
certainly wasn't a pleasant place to be in. But then when I think about what I do and what I tried is still like, I do a lot. My boys know what I do. I'm open and honest with them. Um,
Yeah.
they're pretty open with me. If they've got concerns, they will call me. There's no secrets with
Mm,
me and them. And when I spoke to my elders, and when I was talking to Jameson yesterday, it was about what it was like at school, and they probably graduated like 5 years ago, 6 years ago maybe,
yeah.
and there was really nothing said at school. So whether that's going to change in the future, I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
if it's not, how would you think that it could be handled, especially knowing that potentially there could be something that may be affecting your child, for example?
I think the biggest thing that I've had maybe 3 or 4 teachers through my whole schooling career that really made a massive impact on my life.
Yeah.
And I think because I was for a while studying teaching, and they would talk about things like the hormones and the growth process and everything like that, but it never felt like they touched on, as an educator, you have a different kind of relationship with the kids because you're spending so many hours a day, so many weeks a year with these children that I feel like they're not always the best prepared on signs to look out for and how they can really support children. And it's just taken a couple of really good teachers that took that risk to ask a couple more questions. Um, but I think that's getting better now. I know my mother's studying teaching now, and mental health and anything to do with the spectrum and special needs, they do discuss a lot more openly now.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping by the time that our baby is starting to go through those kinds of things, that it is something that she knows that there's safe places she can go. If she's having something like if she's having a panic attack at school, for example, that she's not going to be singled out for having a moment or being different or anything, that she can go somewhere safe and be heard and be looked after and listened to. Because that was always one of the most traumatic things for me in school, is if I was having a panic attack in the middle of class, I was made to feel like I was a burden or I was just disruption and no one really listened. Um, and whether it was me or it was one of the other kids, whether it was boy or girl, it didn't really matter. It was always just we felt like we were disrupting something and no one really cared.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. I know some people I work with, where I work is a very safe place to work. And I know
Mm,
there's a lot of diverse people, diverse backgrounds where I work. They have and when I hear stories about their own children and stuff like that, from what I can gather, there is the support out there.
Mm.
or definitely more support out there now. Whether that is for, I'm only getting a perceptive overview of probably not high school age. It's younger than that.
Yeah.
I could be mistaken. I definitely know it's younger than that, but it could be on the border of, um, early teens, for example.
Mm.
I know I hated my early teens. I know
Yeah.
it wasn't a good experience.
No.
It wasn't great, and having that burden, and then having that go into your early adulthood,
Mm.
it's kind of, when you think about it, and for myself and a lot of these conversations, it's just not me obviously listening to your story, but it's me explaining some information about me as well, which I may not always explain to people.
Mm.
It's I've been pretty emotional when it comes to stuff. I've always been like that. I always
Mm.
wear my emotions on my sleeve, and
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing, but it's also been a time where it's been um, seen as a sign of weakness,
Yeah.
which I really hate, especially that period around '95 when I was in the army.
Mm.
Not a good place to be at that time.
No.
It did get better over
Mm.
time because people came in, went, and there was more acceptance in a general
Yeah.
overview. So, and I think now, whether people take a look at me and go, "Oh no, what the hell is he doing?" or whatever. Oh, I knew there was something going on 30 years ago. It's like, come on, man. So the attitude and mentality hopefully would change, and especially for the youth growing up these days. My boys. They're settled in with life and getting things sorted, and next thing they'll be, one day I'm going to be a grandfather. So,
Yeah.
and it's kind of instilling those things that we've learned, well, I've learned, that I pass on to them, that hopefully they're going to pass on to their children.
Yeah.
It's, yeah, we'll see what happens. Uh,
Mm.
I I don't doubt for a second that, like the support that you're going to give your child is going to be um, massive. You've and it's knowing what to look out for, the signs and stuff like that.
Mm.
But if you've got a better understanding of people's emotions and stuff like that, then there's a better avenue of help for someone who may be suffering from whatever the case is.
Yeah.
I've got good
Yeah.
friends
No, for sure.
whose children are young, and they see psychologists and stuff like that,
Mm.
and been seeing a psychologist since they were toddlers. So
Yeah.
it's. I'm not. Yeah, no, that's fine. We won't go into that. But yeah, but I'm sorry, I just dribbled on there a little bit.
That's okay.
With obviously we did work together for a few years,
Mm.
and where I work, there's definitely a safe place for conversation. So if there's somebody that I need to talk to, there is external support that we can talk to. I, for the
Yeah.
life of me, can't remember if we had that option. I really can't remember.
I
Was there
think it
anything?
changed. Yeah, it changed when the buyout happened. So because I think, did the work incident where I was off on workers' comp, did that happen when you were there?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So they were very, very quick to support me when that incident happened at work, where we were all threatened and our safety was put in jeopardy.
So, yeah.
Um, they HR immediately reached out once we made the report and everything of what was going on. The EAP program was very quick to respond. And they set me up with a really good psychologist, who was really thorough with her reports to workers' comp. So they were very, because mental health is one of those things, anytime you deal with mental health and workers' comp, it's really, really hard to get support for. because it's very hard to prove that the mental health thing has happened because of an incident at work and it's not because of a prior incident or anything like that. Um, but at no point in the process with our workers' comp program did I feel like they were questioning that I was having an issue because of my previous PTSD or anything like that. Um, they gave me as much time as I needed. I didn't have to worry about not being paid. They covered all the costs for my psychologist and everything, and they were very accommodating with my return to work plan. Um, so I was very grateful for that because my jobs previous to that, they would say they're supportive with mental health stuff, but when it actually came time to like I needed a mental health day or something like that, I was very quickly guilted into coming into work or just pushing through it. But I didn't have that at the telecommunications place. We didn't actually have that, which was nice.
Yeah. And now that you talk about that, and
Mm.
kind of, I remember, kind of have flashbacks, remember what actually happened now. So I do recall
Mm.
um, what happened. And yeah, I think when the changeover happens, I think prior to that, I think there probably would have been absolutely nothing. Um,
No, I agree 100%. It would not have been the same situation at all.
yeah. And this is not an opportunity to bag out the company or anything like that. This is just what
Mm.
we experienced, and
Yeah.
and again, we're not professionals in the matter of this. This is just about our own experience and what we've
Mm.
and how we can best deal with things. And
Yeah.
it hopefully gives people an avenue to seek out support as well. You know, I know with
Mm.
my work, we have external support similar to what you went through.
Yeah.
And there are, I find a lot of people don't realize that there are external support out there. They
Yeah.
they rely too much on maybe government handouts to assist them, but
Mm.
not looking at the bigger picture and trying to
Yeah.
um, do something which potentially could assist them further on down
Yeah.
the track. And I know everybody's different. Everybody's got different circumstances. I get that.
Yeah.
There are external supports. I'm not sure if you've heard of a website called Ask Izzy.
No, I haven't heard of that one. No.
Check it out. It's a good site to have a look at. It's very thorough in what support can be out there.
Mm.
Literally just type in Ask Izzy and it kind of comes up with a list of, accommodation services, foods, any money matters,
Yeah.
family domestic violence concerns, stuff like that. So you select on food, for example.
Mm.
Is it for yourself? Yeah. What's the location here? So you put in your postcode, and it'll bring up a list of services around your area that can assist you.
Okay.
Yeah. There's another
Mm.
one which is run by Ask Izzy, which actually has a map as well. So it shows you the location
Mm.
of where they are and the distance, um, how far away they are from your location.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
yeah, so that's something really good. Like external support is out there. It's whether the people want to um, take that on board. Then I'm not. I don't know. I find it hard for some people to try and get external support. I'm not sure if you've experienced that or not.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time people don't know where to go to find the help. I think that's probably one of the biggest issues is like they'll know the hotlines for like Beyond Blue or something like that, but when they're not in those extreme situations and need just some support, is it's not an obvious thing for them to know where to go. I know even anytime I had issues, I didn't really know who was the person to call. Um, and with me being my parents' first kid that had any mental health issues, they didn't know who to call or where to go. They really just had to rely on their doctors pointing them in the right way. And that was like, how were they to know any different of what other support was out there, really?
Yeah, and probably the doctor will be one of the first places that you would actually reach out to and
Mm.
and suss out. Like that's how I got in touch with my psychologist. I've
Mm,
been with her on and off for the last 8 years, and
mm,
that's I just got referred from her. So
yeah.
and that's definitely somewhere to reach out to and try and get some support through there.
Mm, mm,
Yeah, I know with my work, and you touched on it before, like you know, very very open to your own mental health stuff
mm,
like that. It's definitely important to have that avenue there just in case that you do need that.
mm.
I know it can be difficult for a lot of people, but just reach out to who you can. Really, I think that's the
Mm,
that's the main thing,
mm.
and yeah, and hopefully you can get some support.
Yeah, you're very quick. Usually, when you start reaching, it's very quick to know who the people are who are going to stay with you and show you the support you need and who won't. So it seems very intimidating and everything like that. But anytime I've ever reached out, I've learned a lot from that anyway.
Yeah,
And it might be someone that I really thought would not be able to support me because maybe we weren't as close as I thought we were. But then it's turned out that that person has actually been the person to really support me through a really crappy situation when people who I just assumed would have my back and be there couldn't. And it could be because they don't understand, or it could be because they've got their own stuff going on in their life. So I think the worst thing you can do is kind of shut yourself away and not reach out and try to find some kind of support.
yeah. And from your experience, from a woman's point of view, what's the support like? What's the acceptance like for mental health for women, for example, as opposed to men?
I think it's different. Unfortunately, I hate saying it's different, but it very clearly is because I know anytime my dad has gone through any stuff to do with his mental health, it's that whole old school practice of you just don't talk about it, you just deal with it. Um, his worries, he gets seen as weak or he won't be up for promotion and things like that. I found that I get it in the same way, but there's a lot more sympathy, which I don't always appreciate. Like I hate seeing it that way, where I'm usually given a bit more patience and a bit more time. Um, but I think that's also starting to change with time because, like my last job and then my current workplace, they're starting to see the idea is that if you let someone have a mental health day, they're more likely to be able to return to work better than if they just continue to burn out and then have to take a week or 2 weeks off to recover from their burnout. Um, I think it really just depends. It depends on a couple of things, whether it's gender, it's the workplace, it's um, the generations of the people who work there. Because I work now with people closer to my age and younger, and I think those kinds of conversations are more encouraged. Whereas I know for my father, he works in a mining industry where it's really just it's like tough it out, suck it up, and move on, which is unfortunate because that doesn't help.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, a friend of mine, he's a FIFO worker over in WA.
Mm,
There's a lot of um, support behind them, especially when it's like Are You OK Day, stuff like that.
mm,
Not sure if that's the same with the old man or not. But
mm,
he's my mate. He's how old would he be? He's early 40s, I reckon.
mm.
Something like that. He's probably about 10 years younger than me, give or take.
Yeah.
And I think they're now again. I don't know, but I think potentially maybe with when you're looking at the bigger picture with corporate businesses, for example, you look
Mm,
at a major mining company in WA as opposed to a small business in far north Queensland, for example.
mm.
I think there's obviously a different overview and acceptance when it comes to mental health. Now, I think the bigger
Yeah.
pitch, the bigger business is going to embrace it more. as
Yeah.
opposed to somebody smaller. And like, when people look at me and stuff like that, I like I was saying to somebody yesterday, I said, I don't care how people perceive me when they see me. Half
Mm.
the time I won't hear the conversation anyway because they may be in their car driving past. They're always there, and
Yeah.
that's fine. It's getting that impact. It's getting people to notice. It's getting people
Mm.
to talk about, hey, why has he got pink hair and a pink moustache?
Yeah.
But then when you look at other, like the I see tradies in their pink work shirts on instead of yellow work shirts on.
Yeah.
And that's great. That's a step in the right direction as far as I'm concerned. How
Mm.
far it takes it, I don't know. But
Yeah.
it's making people aware of what people are doing to support not just men's health, but
Mm.
women's health.
Yeah.
There's so much support out there as a whole when it comes
Mm.
to supporting the women that have supported us over the years. I know, for me, I've had thousands of women support me over the years, and
Mm.
what I do is it's just something that I do that makes me want to give back to those that have helped me over the years.
Yeah.
You're including, you've helped me over the years, and I appreciate it. Um,
Yeah.
and it's going back to what you were saying before about the old school mentality, especially for elder generation. I think what we're trying to do now is going to help in the future. So when I'm in my 70s
Mm-hmm.
and when my children are in their 50s, what I've
Yeah.
instilled with what I've learned over the years, hopefully there'll be a change in attitude when it comes to
Yeah.
in the future. Hopefully, it's obviously it come more into the limelight when COVID hit,
Yeah.
when people were suffering from mental health for whatever reason. And
Yeah.
yeah, I know the support's out there, but hopefully the support, people take advantage of the support which they can see and
Mm.
offer. Just while I'm thinking about it,
Mm.
when we no, that's okay. I was thinking about something else. So if anyone was going to take one thing out of this conversation today, whether it be from a men's health side of things or women's health, what would
Mm.
you tell that person, whether they be young or old,
Mm.
male or female?
I think the biggest thing is that to to be able to embrace the fact that there is no shame in how you're feeling and the experiences you're having. I think growing up, I often felt a lot of shame, and it wasn't until I was in maybe my mid to late 20s um, that I actually found that I didn't feel that way anymore, that I embraced that it was part of my story,
Yeah,
and that I was finding that having very open conversations about what I had been through and my ups and my downs, the hards, the goods, it actually meant that other people felt like they could talk about it as well. And that most often than not, there was never any backlash of me being very open, whether it was at work or it was in my personal life. Um, I think that's probably the biggest thing is I wasted so much of my time feeling ashamed of how I felt. And it's just exhausting to feel that all the time. And when I finally stopped caring about like that, it made a massive difference on how open I was and the impact I felt like I had on other people for sure. And also the impact that it had on my mental health is I didn't feel embarrassed or wrong
yeah,
because I had something going on in my head that not everyone else does, but a lot of people do.
yeah. That's it. And a good friend of mine, he's massively into his fitness.
Hmm.
Outgoing, looks great, no dramas, but on the inside, you never know what's going on in people's lives, whether they,
Yeah.
how they look. Definitely is not a reason to look down on them or look, think any different of them. I know
Yeah.
we've all been guilty of it. I've been guilty of it.
Mm.
It's trying to change the perception on people's lives and the circumstances they're going through at the time. It's definitely hard,
Yeah.
but hopefully, if anything, out of this conversation today, hopefully someone can take a little bit of insight about it. And
Mm.
yeah, hopefully, if there's just one thing, hopefully it's something positive. I know a lot of people don't know about Ask Izzy. I never knew about that until probably about a year and a half ago. Um,
Yeah.
it's not anything secret. It's open
Mm.
to anybody to look at. So yeah, there are support out there. It's just
Yeah.
having the foresight to action on something and hopefully make a change in your life for the better. So
Yeah. For
yeah,
sure.
okay. All right, mate. Well, we'll leave it there. Thank you for your time this afternoon. I know
That's okay.
it's I know you're a bit sick with the lurgy, so and
Yeah.
you haven't coughed, so that's great. So it's all good. But yeah, and I hope everything goes well with the pregnancy as well. I'd love to see some photos and when you're all ready with your new bub.
I will. I'll send them through. Don't worry.
All good. All right. Enjoy your afternoon. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, mate. Bye.